Nobody really talks about what divorce does to the woman who leaves. It's not just about walking away from her husband. She's also stepping into a storm inside her own mind, a storm she thought she could avoid. And it's not some movie scene where she realizes she was wrong and runs back. It's much heavier than that. It's what happens when someone trades a real life for an imagined one and then has to watch that dream slowly fall apart. Think about it. Right now, countless men are sitting alone in quiet homes, staring at their ex-wife's social media. She's smiling, posting about fresh starts and new adventures, and those men hurt, believing she's living her best life while they're stuck in pain. But the truth is different. Behind those polished pictures, she's heading toward a hard crash with reality, so painful that her own mind will twist itself just to make sense of it. Because when a woman ends a marriage, she's not only leaving a husband, she's leaving the world she built around him. For years, he was part of every plan, every thought, even every frustration. He was the anchor, even when she claimed he wasn't. Now she floats alone, calling it freedom, but what she's really feeling is the emptiness of having no center. And what comes next? It's not random. It follows a pattern, a cycle. So predictable you could almost chart it on paper. The awakening. This stage is like watching a slow accident. Nothing explodes at once. There's no sudden dramatic collapse. Instead, it builds little by little, quietly, almost invisibly, until the perfect story she created in phase 1 begins to fall apart. She doesn't notice it at first, but the cracks are forming. It usually starts in a simple, almost ordinary way. She goes on a date. The man seems impressive. He's attractive, has a good career, and knows how to talk smoothly. Over dinner they laugh, they share stories, and she feels a spark of excitement. For a short while, she believes she is finally stepping into the life she pictured after leaving the marriage. New, vibrant, full of possibility. But then, something shifts. It could be the end of the night when he leans in too fast, or maybe it's a careless text he sends the next morning. Whatever it is, it stings because she realizes something uncomfortable. This man doesn't truly see her. He doesn't know her routines, her little fears, or the quirks that made her unique. To him, she isn't a whole person with history and depth. She's just another date, another option, another Friday night. That realization is the first crack. Small, but undeniable. For the first time, she senses the gap between the dream she sold herself and the reality she's living. Yet, admitting this would mean admitting she might have been wrong to leave. And that's something her pride refuses to accept. So instead of stepping back, she pushes harder. She downloads more dating apps. She lines up more dinners, more drinks, more fun. She posts extra selfies online to keep up the image of freedom and joy. She repeats to herself, "I just haven't met the right person yet." This is all part of the journey. On the surface, she's busy and social, but beneath it, the excitement is fading. What once felt like adventure now feels like routine. The constant, "You're gorgeous and you're amazing," don't land the way they used to. Why? Because she notices the truth. These men use the same words with every woman. What once felt special now feels recycled. Flattery no longer feels like proof of value, it feels cheap. And now she starts seeing flaws she once overlooked. The charming guy cuts her off when she talks. The wealthy one lacks warmth. The funny one drinks too much and can't be serious. Each man has something missing, and here is where her mind betrays her. Without trying, she begins comparing them to you. She won't admit it aloud. Consciously, she still clings to the story that leaving was the brave, smart choice. But the subconscious mind doesn't care about pride. It compares patterns, safety, and familiarity. It remembers how it felt to be truly known, your inside jokes, your protective gestures, your quiet understanding. These new men don't have that. And though you weren't perfect, you were real. You were familiar. You were home. The comparison grows silently. She won't voice it, she won't even let herself fully think it, but it shapes how she feels. Every shallow date, every careless message, every empty compliment reminds her of what she lost. And the cracks spread further. Girls' nights out don't sparkle like they once did. The buzz from dating apps feels repetitive, not thrilling. Even social media, once her stage for showing new beginnings, now feels like work. Posing, smiling, posting captions she doesn't believe. Outwardly, she's active, but inside she feels a growing emptiness. Because deep down, the truth is seeping in. Attention is not love. Compliments are not care. Dates are not safety. And the life she thought would be vibrant feels thinner, weaker, less meaningful. This is why I call it the awakening. It isn't loud or dramatic. It doesn't happen in one blow. It's quiet. It creeps in like water through cracks in the wall. It's the voice in the back of her mind whispering the words she doesn't want to face. Maybe I made a mistake. Of course, she fights that thought. She buries it under more activity, more dates, more late nights, more distractions. She tries to drown out the whisper with noise and validation, but the seed has already been planted. And once a crack appears, it never truly disappears. It only widens. From here, the unraveling begins. The story she told herself in Phase 1 no longer feels solid. The high is gone, the shine is fading, and reality is stepping in. And no matter how hard she tries to deny it, her own heart is waking up. The honeymoon with herself. The first stage a woman often goes through after leaving her husband can be called the honeymoon with herself. It's the period right after separation when she feels unstoppable, energized, and convinced she made the right choice. For weeks or even months, she lives in a bubble of excitement, not in reality. She tells herself a story where she is the brave woman who broke free from a life that wasn't enough, and now the whole world is open to her. Every morning, she wakes up with a surge of energy. She whispers to herself, "I did it. I was strong enough to walk away. I chose myself. I don't need anyone else." That self-talk becomes her motivation. It feels like power, like she's finally in control. She believes she has stepped into the best version of her life. To mark this new beginning, she makes changes quickly. Maybe she rearranges the furniture, paints the bedroom wall, or buys new decorations. These small actions feel symbolic, like wiping out the old and welcoming in the new. She might book that yoga class she always talked about but never tried. She changes her hairstyle, buys trendy clothes, and starts posting more photos online to show off her fresh start. Soon, she discovers dating apps again. After years of being out of the game, she uploads her best pictures, writes a profile, and within minutes, her phone is buzzing. Matches, compliments, flirty messages. It feels like she's suddenly on a stage with all eyes on her. Men she's never met are calling her beautiful, sexy, interesting. After years of feeling unnoticed in her marriage, this sudden rush of attention feels like proof that she made the right move. Every ping on her phone is like a shot of dopamine. It makes her feel alive, wanted, and validated. But here's the hidden issue. She is mixing things up. She's confusing attention with affection. She's confusing the number of messages with the quality of those men. She believes different automatically means better, but that's not always true. Her friends also play a big part in this stage. They cheer her on, telling her she looks amazing, reminding her she deserves more, and taking her out for nights filled with laughter and wine. They act like she's the star of her own comeback story. Their support is uplifting, and she soaks it up because it helps her believe she didn't lose something. She gained something. On social media, it looks like she's glowing. She posts smiling pictures, motivational quotes about freedom, and captions about finally finding herself. She tells anyone who will listen that she feels lighter, freer, stronger, and for a while she even believes it. But the truth underneath is different. What she's living isn't reality, it's a carefully built story. She's not lying. In her mind, she really believes she's happier. But belief and truth are not the same thing. Reality hasn't set in yet. Because in reality, she hasn't built a new foundation. She hasn't replaced what she lost, she's only removed it. She left behind a marriage, but she hasn't created anything solid to take its place. What she calls freedom right now is more like floating in open space. And floating feels fun at first, until you realize you have nothing to hold on to. The high of this stage is powerful. It feels like rebirth. She believes she's glowing, that men find her irresistible, that the universe is opening doors for her. She convinces herself her ex was holding her back, and now she's finally stepping into her true self. But here's the hard truth. This isn't her true self. It's just the rush that comes after making a huge decision. It's an emotional sugar high. And like all sugar highs, it doesn't last. The excitement from dating apps will fade when the conversations turn shallow. The cheering from friends will grow quieter when their own lives demand attention. The thrill of redecorating and shopping will wear off when bills arrive, and the glow of new beginnings will dim when she's lying awake at night in an empty house. She doesn't see that yet. Right now, she's too wrapped up in the role she's created for herself. The brave woman who left, who's about to discover endless happiness. She doesn't realize she's mistaking claps for connection, noise for meaning, and novelty for real value. She decorates, she dates, she smiles, she posts. She convinces herself she is free. But behind all of that is a quiet, invisible timer ticking down. Because when the rush fades and daily life returns, reality will start to knock. And when it does, the story she has been living in will begin to show cracks. And that's when the next phase begins. The panic. By the 6 to 8 month mark, the glitter of her new life has begun to wear off. The thrill of freedom that once felt so exciting doesn't carry the same weight anymore. What once looked like a fresh start now feels more like a performance she has to keep up every single day. In the beginning, her friends were her cheerleaders. They told her she was strong, that she deserved more, that she was brave for walking away. But now, those same friends don't seem as eager to clap for her. They've heard the stories about dating apps, bad dates, and late nights more times than they can count. Their lives are moving in other directions: careers, children, family routines, while hers seems stuck on repeat. She begins to feel that her audience is getting smaller and the applause is fading. If there are kids involved, this is often when she notices their pain more clearly. The broken rhythm of two houses instead of one starts showing up in their behavior. They act out, they cry, they cling, and for the first time she sees the damage through their eyes. While she's been chasing her new identity, they've been quietly hurting. That guilt is heavy and it lingers. She's also exhausted. Exhausted from trying to look happy, exhausted from forcing smiles for photos, exhausted from pretending that every "living my best life" caption online is the truth. Each time she posts, it feels less like joy and more like work. She feels like an actress stuck in a play she never meant to audition for. Outwardly, she plays the role of the free, confident woman, but inside she feels trapped and drained. This is where panic slips in. It doesn't show the same way for everyone. Some women throw themselves into constant activity. They can't sit still. Their calendars are crammed with dinners, gym classes, road trips, parties, dates. The busyness distracts them from the silence they fear. Others go the opposite direction. They shut down, staying in bed all weekend, scrolling endlessly, letting messages go unanswered, crying quietly, or simply sitting in a fog of emptiness. And here is the most fascinating part. This is where the rewriting begins. The marriage she once painted as unbearable? Suddenly, it doesn't seem so black and white. Small, good memories sneak back in, laughing at inside jokes, family meals, comfortable routines. The husband she once swore she couldn't stand now doesn't look quite as terrible in her mind. Maybe she was too harsh. Maybe she focused only on the negatives. Maybe she threw away something she shouldn't have. The grand vision she once had, an exciting, passionate life filled with options and adventure, now feels shaky, like a bet that didn't pay off. Deep down, she wonders if she miscalculated. Did she gamble away her security, her family, her home, for a dream that isn't real? But she can't simply admit that she was wrong. Doing so would shatter the entire identity she's been building since the day she walked away. She told her friends, her family, even herself, that leaving was the right choice. To go back on that would mean facing the shame of tearing apart a family and destroying stability for nothing. That thought is unbearable. So she rewrites the story in a way that protects her pride. She doesn't tell herself she made a mistake. She tells herself, maybe you have changed. Maybe things could be different now. Maybe there's hope, not because she was wrong, but because circumstances are no longer the same. This lets her think about you again without fully admitting her regret. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the mental strain of holding two opposing beliefs at once. She still wants to believe she was right to leave, but she also feels the growing emptiness of regret and loneliness. To survive that conflict, she bends the story into a shape she can tolerate. On the outside, she may still look fine. She's dating, she's smiling in photos, she's busy, but inside, panic is rising. The compliments don't land anymore. The attention feels shallow. The dating app pings that once felt exciting now feel like noise. She senses that something essential is missing, and she can't quiet that thought. What she's really realizing, slowly but surely, is that she didn't just lose a husband. She lost a partner, a home, a sense of safety and belonging. Freedom without stability no longer feels like freedom. It feels like being lost at sea with no anchor. This is the stage where nights hit the hardest. During the day, distractions keep her moving. But at night, when the house is quiet, when the kids are asleep or away, when her phone is silent, panic settles in. It's in those moments that the voice in her head whispers the words she fears most. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I made a mistake. But instead of saying it out loud, she drowns the thought with more noise, more outings, more scrolling, more pretending. Because admitting it would mean breaking the story that's been holding her together. The panic. The moment when the story starts collapsing, when the cracks widen, and when she finally begins to feel the weight of the choice she made. The reckoning. Around a year after the breakup, the truth finally begins to break through the stories she told herself. At first, she walked away believing she was strong, free, and about to live her best life. But as time passes, the loneliness begins to weigh more heavily. It's not just the silence of an empty house anymore. It's a deeper emptiness, almost like a hole inside her chest. For the first time, she begins to feel the full cost of what she did. She didn't just leave a man, she left an entire life behind for an illusion that never truly existed. That's often when the late-night messages start. They might look harmless. Hey, how are you? Or, remember when we used to? Sometimes they carry sadness, other times frustration, but no matter how they read, they all mean the same thing. She's realizing the grass wasn't greener, it was artificial, and she fell for the lie. From here, the downward slide begins. Dating doesn't look like the dream she once imagined. She quickly discovers what's really out there. Men only interested in hookups, married men sneaking behind their wives' backs, or men who are still single because they can't commit to anyone. The kind of good, stable men she pictured waiting for her, most are already married or in long-term relationships. On the apps, the cycle is cruel. At first, plenty of matches and compliments. But soon, the conversations fade, the pings stop, and she goes from feeling desirable to feeling invisible. Her social life shrinks too. Married friends begin to keep their distance. They don't want her drama mixing with their family life. Single friends who once went out with her become competition instead of companions. One by one, her support system grows smaller, leaving her more isolated than she has ever felt before. And it's in that isolation that the realization lands hardest. You weren't just her husband. You were her safe place, her steady hand, her emergency contact, the one person who truly knew her. And she threw that away. Then comes what can be called phantom relationship syndrome. Just like someone who loses a limb but still feels it, she still feels you. She catches herself wanting to tell you something funny. She hears your voice in her mind. Sometimes she even wakes up and forgets for a split second that you're gone. Little reminders cut deeply. A shirt of yours showing up in a drawer, or the kids repeating one of your phrases. These aren't just memories. They're deeply wired habits of connection that her brain refuses to erase. And then reality hits her in another way. Money. Divorce costs more than she thought. Living alone costs more than she expected. What once felt like freedom now feels like struggle. Independence without enough resources isn't independence at all. It's financial stress disguised as freedom. And along with that comes another pain she didn't expect, the loss of daily touch. No more kisses on the forehead, no warm presence in bed, no comforting hand on her back. She once told herself she didn't need those things, but her body proves otherwise. She feels starved for touch, restless, and stressed. By the second year, she faces a fork in the road. She can either admit she made a mistake or double down and defend her choices even harder. Many choose the second option. They become bitter, resentful, even recruiting other women to follow the same path so they don't feel alone. A smaller number admit the truth, but then they're crushed under the weight of guilt. To face you, the man they hurt, means facing shame and regret so deep it feels unbearable. And many reach the darkest truth of all. It wasn't really you that was the problem. It was her unhappiness with herself, projected onto the marriage. In the end, she gets what she asked for: freedom, independence, a new beginning. But what she thought she wanted and what she actually needed were two different things. She wanted adventure, but found chaos. She wanted desire, but discovered she was disposable. She wanted better, but learned that different isn't always better. Sometimes it's far worse. And then comes the hardest moment of all, when she sees you happy again. Maybe you've built a new relationship. Maybe you're thriving on your own. Maybe you're simply smiling in photos with the kids. That's when the truth hits her like a punch. You were always capable of being the man she said she wanted. She just didn't see it. Or maybe she did, but still wanted more. That realization is its own kind of punishment. Because now she understands she didn't leave a broken marriage. She left a marriage she decided was broken. And by the time that truth finally sinks in, it's too late to undo.